Hey, what's up, everybody? And welcome to Vibes, Community, and Conversation, where we are
building communities, one vibe at a time.
One vibe at a time, baby. I'm your host, Mike, a.k.a. The Cool Guy, and I'm here with my co-host.
The Jazzy One.
The Jazzy One is what they call her. And today on Vibes, Community, and Conversation, we had a conversation about mental health. And our guest was Kesha and TJ. And they gave us opportunity to learn a little bit more about some of the things they've gone through. Kesha being the mother of Keyshawn, who committed suicide. She was able to give us some insight on the things that she's been dealing with and she dealt with at the time. TJ was bringing it from the youth perspective on some of the things that you could do in life to better yourself. And they had some amazing stories to tell. Jazz, what do you think about that?
I think the conversation was great, especially hearing it from the perspective of a mom and a young man, because I think a lot of times we always think that our kids are okay, but there might be something going on that they're not willing to talk to us about. And one of the things that Kesha mentioned is even though your child may not talk to you, helping them find a trusted adult where they're able to have a conversation about some things that may be going on could be beneficial. So it was just good to get a different perspective on how I am dealing with and raising my boys. And then, on top of that, it's making sure that I have the resources that I need, as I realize there's probably some trauma in my past that I have not yet resolved or dealt with, and how dealing with that will make a difference in how I interact and react to situations with my own children. So it was just really good to hear from Kesha about what she's going through and how she's trying to give back with her foundation, Keyshawn's Korner.
And TJ was amazing, being able to bring it from how he sees it, talking about some of the struggles he had as a younger man. He's only 23, but as a younger man, some of the struggles that he encountered and how he has turned his life around for the better. And now he's that spokesperson for young people to be able to encourage and empower them to do great things in life. So the conversation was awesome. Very insightful. Me, myself, I can relate to the trauma side and things of that nature. We hope that everyone, take advantage of those resources, but understand, and I'm coming from my perspective, right? I'm not a therapist, psychiatrist or anything of that nature. And I don't believe, Jazz, I don't believe you have any certification in any of that.
Not.
But I'm going to tell you, as I went through the traumas that I've gone through with my military and professional life, I understood that I had to go to my source, and my source was God.
Absolutely.
And is God.
Amen.
I encourage each and every one of you to do that, but also utilize the resources that are here for you to help you along your journey. So, hey, here we are, episode 4, Vibes, Community, and Conversation. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're here today with Kesha and Travaris Jenkins, better known as TJ. And so we have them on the show today to just talk a little bit about what's going on in their lives and going on with their businesses and things of that nature. So we're going to go ahead and start off with Kesha, who is the founder of Keyshawn's Korner. Tell me a little bit about Keyshawn's Korner.
Well, I founded Keyshawn's Korner back in 2023 in honor of my son who passed by suicide in 2023. And we're a local nonprofit for mental health awareness and suicide prevention for youth and young adults in the underserved community.
Okay, cool. Okay. And TJ, you're an entrepreneur. And so tell us a little bit about your business and what you're doing right now.
Okay, so my business is Window Tint and Low Profile Films, LLC. I basically just started from having a car and just wanting to learn how to tint windows.
So Kesha, my first interaction with you was at one of your events that you had at Enoch Davis Center. where you were highlighting Keyshawn's Korner, and you had a lot of young people that were on the panel, and it was surrounding mental health. So tell me, why is mental health so important to discuss these days?
Well, I feel like it's important to discuss, especially in our community, because we don't discuss it. And for so long, again, in my opinion, I think that we were brought up to believe that mental health or suicide wasn't our problem, because you typically didn't hear about Black people killing themselves or even dealing with mental health.
Right.
And there's a stigma surrounding it. It's almost like when you mention mental health, they automatically assume mental illness or mental disability, when that's the furthest from the truth. So I just wanted to educate our community on the hidden aspects surrounding mental health.
Okay. And TJ, were you a part of that event as well? Were you
yes,
there?
sir.
Okay.
Yes.
What part did you play? I know some of you all were behind the curtain, and so I didn't see everyone. So what do you think about the event?
I think the event was really good. It's just raise some awareness, which we want to do. Also, just being able to use our voice and get it out into the community was a good opportunity to do that.
Okay. And I noticed, it was a lot of articulate young people there talking about some
He was
different
one of the
things.
ones behind the curtain.
He was one of the ones behind the curtain.
Oh, oops. I think y'all was supposed to stay
You weren't supposed to.
anonymous.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Well, the jig is up. We know who it is now. But that's okay. That's fine. And so you're right. Mental health is something that even when we were coming up, we never wanted to talk about these
on
things.
This house, stay in this
Keep
house.
it in the house and all of these things. And so me personally, I've sat with psychiatrists, psychologists. I dealt with some things in the military. I have PTSD, certain different traumas that I've dealt with. And even after military life in the work world, I've dealt with some things that I have to talk to people about those things. So tell me, is that important to talk about your issues? How do you see that?
I would say it's very important, whether it's talking about it or just getting it out on paper, journaling, or having that friend or somebody that you can go to just to get it out, because leaving it in, it can cause more damage than it does with anything.
Definitely.
I think it's important to talk about it. Be selective with who you talk to, because, listening to air can be a running mouth, and it can take your bad moment and make it a bad month, a bad year.
Right.
But I definitely feel, because how you perceiving something couldn't be the way that it was presented,
Right.
And sometimes you have to speak to someone else who wasn't in the situation to make you feel how you feel, to see it from a different perspective. Because a lot of stuff sometimes just be misunderstandings, and then sometimes we take a permanent solutions for a temporary problem.
Right.
So I feel like if you have a conversation with someone who's non-biased, who don't really know you or the situation, they make you look at it from a different perspective.
Right.
But if you hold everything in, it's almost like, you the judge and jury. Like, this is the problem, this is what I'm going to do about it, So I definitely feel like it's important to talk to somebody about it. But you also have to, it's even more important to understand who you're talking to about it.
Right. And that was my thing, talking about the things I talked about. I felt more comfortable because I knew the person on the other side was not going to be sitting there judging me. And then having to worry about, my business is going to be out in the streets because,
especially in our culture, that's the main thing we worry about, because it does happen. The help can't wait to tell people that you needed help.
That's right. That's right. Definitely. Jazz, you ever deal with anything?
I have. So I have a 17-year-old who I was able to bring to the event. And it was eye-opening for both of us. I think for me as a parent, I want my kid to come to me with everything. And I might not be as open as they need me to be in a particular situation. And so, as you're saying, have a trusted person that you can talk to. Like, it doesn't have to be me. And I think that's something that I had to learn, because it's like, no, you need to tell me what's going on. And that could be causing, more damage than good. So making sure that he knows that I understand that he might not want to talk to me about everything. But just hearing the young people, like, out of their mouths talk about some of the struggles, it's like, dang, as a parent, you don't want to believe that you're maybe adding into some of the concerns and problems that they're having. So I think from that point of view, that was a great piece for me from that, because I know it was like mostly for the kids, but being able to hear as a parent, okay, maybe I need to make some adjustments in how I'm interacting with my son, to make sure that he knows if he can't come to me, that he needs to find somebody to talk to, because for me, it was when I was having a problem, it's like, you better pray about it, and and yes, we do need to pray about it, but it was like, why you need to go talk to somebody, like you need, like you were saying earlier, you need to keep this in the house. But I think it was interacting with, people in the church that were mental health providers as well. Like, the Lord has allowed us to be able to help in this way, so take advantage of it. So I think for me, it was really good to hear, and my son enjoyed it as well. Because, we've had some issues, but there's a lot of barriers to getting help. Sometimes it's the cost, sometimes there's no availability. So I think it's really great what you're doing to try to get out the word. I do want to know, like, what made you decide on a nonprofit? Because, it's easy to just go around and just talk to other people, but you took it a step further in establishing a foundation. Like, what made you want to take that next step to get awareness?
Okay. First, I want to address something you said. You said, it was for the youth. It was given an opportunity to speak, but it was for us because we pretty much forced them to listen to us all the time, because I've been 15, I've been 20, you ain't been 40, you know what I mean? So that's why it was titled Youth Speak, We Listen. I put us in an uncomfortable situation because, like you said, sometimes I don't want to hear that I'm the problem because I'm mom, I know better, you know what I mean? So the event was set up to do exactly what it did, help us kind of see what we can make adjustments when we communicating, with our kids. What made me do a nonprofit is after my son passed, I got like so many calls and stuff from his peers, my peers, people older than me, just coming to me and being honest. Like, man, I was there. I thought about it. And again, they felt comfortable coming to me because what can I say? My son did it. So now I'm a no judging zone. So I know whatever I tell her, she can't, judge or do anything because, so I'm like, and I was visiting my son's grave one morning, maybe like 9:00. And, so I'm like, who's this at my son's grave? I still my baby. I'm like, who's this out here? So it was a friend of his. And at that time, I think he was maybe 20. So I'm like, why you not at work? What's going on? So, he's lighter skinned. So his face was red. And, he was like, I was just having a bad day at work. And normally he'll be the one I talk to, and he'll talk me off the ledge. But he said, if anybody else would have did it, it would have been sad. But if anybody could have gotten our attention, it was him. He said, I put a gun in my head and I was too to pull the trigger. He said, I probably can't cuss on it, but he said, I was too scared to pull the trigger. And I'm like, dude, you're 20. What's the problem? And I'm like, and he said, I know you noticed, but your son really loves you. And he said, he would always say, well, I got to do something. My mom going to do this. He's like, it's always his mom. And he said, I'm just not really happy with my job. I said, bro, you're going to have 20 more jobs before you be happy with your job. I'm 41. I'm not happy, So he said, if I quit, my family, it's a cultural difference. He's not Black. So he's like, they'll feel like I'm being a bomb. They'll feel like this. And I understood the culture, because we Black, you better be strong. You better be proud. So that race, is somewhat the same. So in that moment, I'm like a kid thinking about killing himself strictly because this life right now is hard. You went from being in high school, hanging out with your friends to boom, you got to pay bills, where I'm going to live, with no buffer in between. So I wanted to kind of be that bridge where it was a wall built. You know what I mean? So it was too many people, like I said, my peers, his peers, your peers, just telling me they've been to that point, just not knowing what to do about it because, again, that's not our problem. So I just felt like a nonprofit would be the best approach in our community because it wasn't one in our community that represented us. And you want to talk, like I went to a therapist, after situation happened with my son, nice white guy, probably a decent person. But when I went in there, he's like, so when you feel like this, what is, like on a dry erase board? And I'm like, you're going to erase my name and put another name next. And I'm like, I said, yo, you good? Like, I found myself sliding in a box of tissue. I'm like, and it just didn't, I never went back. I'm not going to lie, I never went back. And that's when I realized most of us don't go because there's no true representation of us. You know what I mean? Like, culturally, we're different. They take the clinical approach, but don't acknowledge the cultural difference. And everybody I talked to, pretty much, they said the same thing. So I want to create a network, for us, if that makes sense. And I think, because again, culturally, other people get introduced to therapy as early as 4 or 5. We get introduced to medication. Same problem, different prescription. And I just didn't want that for us no more. And like I said, I just chose to let the death of my son serve, as a beacon of hope for the community, if you will.
Right. So has the community embraced what you're doing?
Faster than I thought.
Okay.
Like we wasn't even out of the building from doing the youth summit, and the kids was hyped. So when we do the next one, in my head, I'm like, I'm still paying for this one. Like, wait a minute. But no, like they really have. And people have reached out to people in my family. Hey, your dark skin color, you got the event. Like, I need some help with my, So they really have. And I honestly, I didn't know it was going to go that fast. I don't know what I'm doing. I just seen it was a problem. I didn't want nobody to feel how I constantly felt. And I'm like, I even call him. I'm like, say, hey, what do you think about this? Because I can't speak for them if I'm not speaking to them. So I even called them when we were at the youth summit. Hey, how should it be? He went as far as get some lavender, do this. I'm like, what is we doing? But I wanted it
up, this thing.
But I wanted it to be comfortable for them. That's why it was titled Comfortable Conversation.
Thank you for your passion. I mean, you're opening the eyes of some folk. And even though I've dealt with some things, it opened my eyes a little bit more at the event that I attended. So, definitely appreciate you doing what you're doing. So TJ.
Yes, sir.
Let's talk about your life. How was things going for you when you were in high school up until this point? And tell me what happened to make you make that transition into where you are now.
Yep. So up until you say high school, 9th grade, I had just kind of moved in with my mom. I was living with my grandma then. My grandma got sick, so I started to move with my mom. So it was a huge difference. I got introduced to the streets in 9th grade, more so into the streets in 9th grade. I was in it throughout my whole life, I would say, but more introduced to it in 9th grade. Started actually, doing the wrong things, hanging out in front of the stores, what come with that.
Right.
Played basketball, ended up quitting basketball just to do that. So making my money doing that. And through 9th grade to 10th grade, that's what I was doing. And in 10th grade, my brother came to me with the idea of just, let's start detailing. So I started detailing in front of my mama's house, helping her pay bills that way. And then we ended up getting a contract with a funeral home here. Doing that, and I ended up being more so the face for the company, and people came to me more so to get their cars done.
Right.
And ended up in 10th grade to 11th grade doing that, and then 11th grade back into the streets. So I found a location, talked to a few guys, got a location to do detailing, but also still do my thing in the streets.
Right.
And then 12th grade, I actually met my girl. Well, I didn't meet her. We actually started taking it more serious because I knew her through 9th grade. Since 9th grade, we had those late night conversations. So she kind of helped me heal throughout the process as well. So after 12th grade, I just started, in 12th grade, I just started just observing, being more observant. It's like, this don't make sense. People I knew since I was in kindergarten still doing the same thing. Like old guys, they the OGs in the streets, and they still doing the same thing that I knew them from when I was in kindergarten. It just didn't make sense.
Right.
And it was a lot of used to be stories. Oh, I used to do this, I used to do that, and I ain't want that story. I don't want to be no used to be. So just making that transition. Then she said she was going to college. She went to Tallahassee, and I was like, really? I'm sitting down. Really, going to Tallahassee? What school you going to? TCC.
Right.
Okay, I'm putting in my application. Put in my application. Graduated high school. Paid for everything with my own money from out the street. So graduation, all them expenses was paid by me. And it was just a huge disconnect from me in the street. So I made that transition, moved to Tallahassee, and that's where everything shifted.
Okay. And you feel better about yourself now, right?
I got it.
You can have you have a testimony, you have a story to tell.
Yes, sir.
That will inspire so many other young folk who are caught up. Many of them feel like they have to take care of home and by any means necessary.
Yeah.
And they don't understand the road gets to be even rougher unless you make that better transition.
Yeah, you end up being the person on the other side.
On the other side, that's right. That's right. So, man, I appreciate you being who you are, being a young person who's able to give that type of perspective to some other young person who may be listening.
That's right.
And that's the whole purpose behind this podcast is to give those nuggets and those gems to other folk, to be able to help them in any way possible to make the right decisions, to get the help that they may need, So.
And if I could say anything, man, if you young out there, what camera I need to look at?
You can look at this camera right here.
This camera right here?
Yeah.
It ain't showing me. It's all
No,
right.
we
They
good.
can hear me.
We got you on that side. You good.
If you in the city and you got an opportunity, get out of the city. Just move. Don't even think about your friends. Don't think about your mama, your grandma. Don't think about nobody. Think about yourself. Cause later on down the line, you're gonna be thankful that you did do that.
Right. And a lot of times that's what it is, changing your environment to help you be able to see things a little bit clearer, and understanding.
I want to say, ask a question because I just listened to what he said. 9th, 10th grade having to help with bills. And I think that's a lot of, we as parents, we don't know like the unwanted pressures that sometimes we putting on the kids. Rather we verbally say, hey, you're gonna have to help pay bills, or they see you sitting at the table crying, trying to sort out bills, hear you on the phone making arrangements to pay something late and this and that. So sometimes, again, we as parents, we don't know the pressures that we put on these kids or our kids to sometimes make them take a route. Like, okay, well, I can go get a job, but I got to wait almost 20 days before I get paid versus I can go be here for, it's just a little while, just for a minute, and then it's coming and going. So sometimes we as parents have to sit back and think about what we expose our kids to as far as what we're dealing with. Because later on, you don't want to hear the story with your kids say, well, I only did this because I had to help. You know what I mean?
Right.
And now we at odds because it's the truth, but I don't need you to tell me that, And then now you kind of blame yourself for how your kid turned out, especially if it go the other way. Because his situation could have went the other way.
Right. Definitely.
Because a lot of kids aren't as mentally, connected or in tune as he is,
Definitely.
So I think that's a problem in our community also.
And the thing is, I always say a lot of the young people don't have that foundation, right? And we understand that when you build a home or anything, if the foundation weak, your house,
everything comes down.
Bound to come on down. You know what I mean? And so, what you're doing, TJ, is helping someone to start to build a foundation, even though it may not have been placed there for them when they were younger. But at this point in time, it's never too late to build a foundation. And then we have this generational thing, right? We need to move past the stigma and show people that you all are intelligent. Y'all not little lazy young people, what I'm saying? I ain't gonna use some other terms, but y'all not none of them that they want to put.
It's a shift that's going on. So we we not lazy. We just caught on to the fact that we don't want to be at no job for 30 years and retire, because grandma ain't even retired really. She got a little Social Security check, but she still got to ask for money at the end of the day.
Right.
We don't want to do that.
People greeting you at Walmart. This lady should be home with her kids. And I think sometimes just even me thinking back with my son, because of course, I don't blame myself for what happened with him, but you do question some stuff. Like, because as a parent, you're like, okay, because for so long, it was beat into our head. I don't know how old you are, but I'm sure your head, you got to go to college, this and that.
Right.
Every black kid, what you want to be? I want to be a football player, doctor, lawyer. We definitely need all those things. But you very rarely, I want to be an engineer. Because we wasn't taught that, so we didn't even know that stuff existed. You know what I'm saying? So it's like when you got when you put in a position, you know better, you do better.
Right.
So when I go to thinking back with my son, like, college probably wasn't really, he didn't have to go to college. You know what I mean? He could have went to P-Tech, became, certified in HVAC, robot can't take that job, and now culturally the whole world has shifted. Everything is tech-based. He could have went and took a class in technology on his own, but again, for so long, because of what we were taught, you inadvertently, you pass it on your kids. No, you go to work, you go to school, you go to college. Only thing college, and I'm not knocking college for anybody who want to go. I feel like if you want to go, you definitely should go, especially get that experience. learn different cultures and stuff. But, everybody don't have to go to college. You know what I'm saying? And there's nothing wrong with, hey, this is what I'm going to do on this end. Because everybody I know who's up, they didn't go to college. Some of them made transition from other things and doing greater things.
Mm-hmm.
But nonetheless, they still are successful in their own right. And I think, again, it's been beating our head that you have to do it this way,
right?
Without even understanding that you got kids now, younger, 10 years old, sitting in front of a microphone,
making money,
playing with toys or reviewing toys. Your kids ain't playing with their toys; they watching other kids play with toys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
That kid ain't got to do nothing else, And I think that we have to kind of sometimes get out of our own way of what we knew to be the right way and just change with the times almost.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed.
That's right.
Because it's still, because I know I'm the same age as you.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I didn't think about anything other than going to college. That's what you're going to do. But if I had to do it over, I probably would have went to nursing school 2 years and I, could have gone back to school later than that. But then even as my oldest, it was like, you going to college. Like, that's what you have to do. But now it's, okay, what do you want to do?
Yep,
and if it's not college, that's perfectly fine. But you're going to do something.
And that's the conversation I have with my son.
You're going to do
like,
something.
Okay, but because, college going to guarantee one thing, that you're going to owe somebody a whole lot of money at some point. That's just, I don't care if people pay for it. At some point, you're going to owe somebody a whole bunch of money. And most people that I know that went to college, they're not even working in the field that they, got their degree, And again, not saying nothing is wrong with college, but it's like a lot of these kids, what I'm saying is that, my mama would do this. Well, what do you want to do? Well, I don't know. They don't even know what they want to do because they've been trained to, this is what you're going to do. You know what I'm saying? So like I said, even after my son's death, quite naturally, I'm home by myself. So I'm sitting there thinking like, well, maybe it could have been this or maybe it could have been that. So I just don't want anybody else or any other kid to feel like, because I don't know what I want to do, that this, this has to be my out. Okay, just take your time. Okay, yeah, you have to get a job because you have to, take care of yourself. But in the meantime with that, figure out what it is you want to do. I read something that said if you go work for somebody else for 8 hours and you come home and go to sleep, you're not tired, you're uninspired.
Mm-hmm.
And that stuck with me. Because it's like if I can go to your job and sit and work for you to help you continue your dream, because that was your dream, not mine. You paying me to forget about my dream and help you, reach yours. Mm-hmm. So if I can work for you for 8 hours and not come home for an hour and rather be jot down something from my own business or something that I like and try to figure it out. And that's really, what I want these sessions with the youth and the young adults to be about, figuring out who you are. Because you can't determine what type of employee you're going to be, what type of brother, husband, sister, if you don't even know what type of man you are. Right. And that's a lot of, like you went back, goes back to what you're saying, it's like lacking guidance and stuff because you have grown males teaching young boys how to be men when they don't even understand what it is themselves.
Mm-hmm. That's right. It was someone said it, and I think it was in the last podcast. We have the knowledge, but lack the wisdom. So you can have everything you need, but you don't have the wisdom to put that into effect the way it's supposed to be.
It's like having the ingredients, but don't have the recipe. You can have everything, but you don't know what go where, what you gonna do with it.
That's right. So TJ, are you still in the area here in St. Pete, or you live in a different area now?
I actually live in Orlando right now.
Orlando,
yes, sir.
Okay, and you're running your business
running my
there.
business there, but it's mobile, so I come to the city to do tent as well.
Okay.
I'm everywhere, honestly.
You need to be everywhere. Yep. That's all right. That's a good thing. Definitely a great thing.
What advice do you have, if any, for someone who's interested in getting their own business, doing their own thing?
Just do it.
Okay.
Don't even think about it. Just do it. If you got the money to do it, just do it. Or give that one person that you think believe in you, or even reach out to different people, because that's how I started. I took a class in Tallahassee, and people helped me. People helped me just reaching out, asking for $20, $10, like, help me. I'm looking to do this. This is what I want to do. It's a class. It's $500. Can you help me? And that's how it started. So if you got ideas, just run for it.
I shared I think it was a book with you. It says 1 hour a day, and it goes back to what you were talking about. Take that hour to dedicate to yourself. No one else. Let everything else go out the window, whatever. Focus on yourself. because you can start to build whatever it is that you want to build. Whatever it is you're doing, you're going to do better if you're happy doing it versus you're being forced to do it.
Absolutely.
So yeah. Okay. All right.
All right. So, Keisha, what's coming up for Keyshawn's Corner that we can tell the community about?
Well, the next event is September 27th. It's kind of mimicking what we did with the youth and young adults, but we're doing it with adults. It's going to be at the Urban Drinkery. Can't really give out all the details because it'll kind of ruin the whole scheme of it. But I know it's going to be a great event for the community where we can sit down and connect. And like, again, it goes back to we can't want other people to understand us if we don't understand us. As Black men and Black women, your day ain't harder than mine. My day it's like we want to out hard, you know what I mean? Them to out pity each other. Yeah, well, my day was, So I think that, again, we can't make them understand us if we don't know who we are individually and then together. So that's kind of what that event is surrounded around, based upon that in the community connect. That's what it's called, actually. And we also, we won first place with 100 Women Who Cares for our program, Comfortable Conversation. It's where we're going to train youth and young adults in mental health first aid, because, again, it goes back to what you said earlier. Your kid talk to you, but it's more stuff that they're not going to talk to you about. They're going to go to their friends. So, but the blind leading the blind. So at this point, they're going to reach out to a youth or a peer, and they're going to be reaching out to someone who's been trained in mental health first aid. And it's not to take the place of actual therapists, but it's kind of walking a man from the corner to the couch. Meet them where they at instead of bringing them where we feel like they should be at. And they'll feel comfortable talking to someone who looks like them, who can understand them. We did a lot of stuff. It wasn't televised. They living in that era. So as parents, we feel like, what you stressed about? What you ain't got, we had to worry about maybe minutes for your cell phone, Jordans. If one person in your clique had a car, you piled up in it, $5 fill up your tank. Now with them, if you don't got on the latest Gucci, if you don't, and a lot of that comes from them, but more so it comes from the parents trying to live vicariously what they see on the internet. We worry about the music raising them. I'm worrying about the reality TV raising these adults, So I want, again, when they reach out to someone, they're reaching out to someone who looks like them, who can understand them. I know what it's like, to be going through stuff at 20, but not when, you make one mistake and they press that button, it's there forever. And
so TJ, for some of us that are a little bit more seasoned, what should we do better to communicate with the younger generation?
I would say just have that conversation. Like she was saying, what's your name? I'm sorry. Ms. Jazz was saying, just getting to know, not saying, oh, this is what you're going to do, is asking just, what do you want to do? What do you see yourself? How do you see yourself? Do you know who you are? Just asking those type of questions to get to know whoever that teen is, that young adult, whoever it is,
This was a great conversation, great information shared. This podcast is to highlight folk who they're the unsung heroes, right? You'll see the same folk a lot of times on the news and wherever, but there are folk who are out here doing some work, some folk who have gone through some challenges and persevered. We want to highlight that type of stuff. So if you have anyone else who you feel has something going on that other people normally wouldn't hear about, let us know. We'll get them on the show, and we want to highlight them. It's all about empowering people. Yes, definitely. Appreciate you all coming, and we'll see you soon.